Hey, Shalom, I want to start off souls by giving all praise to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahshua, Hashem, Kudash. Double honors to the apostles of GMS and honors you brothers doing the work of the Most High in truth and sincerity. That's another quick one. Once again, so I did Daniel's 7th chapter, so Daniel 8th chapter. Once again, all of these are what you call on the site for for any brother to go over reason why this site was put together was so that the video was you don't always have carry your notes with you, memory, whatever, what have you. So everyone there has got notes, breakdown of these scriptures available to them, always, and Lord's will more will be added as time goes on, as other brothers, apostles go on down, do more breakdown of certain chapters of whatever, what have you, right? So just like the other time, this is one of Daniel's 8. Less which got less notes on this one, but the ones that are there are of good understanding. So I'll get into it once again, more of a reading exercise. So we'll go into it. Right? This is Daniel the 8th chapter. This is in the 3rd year of the reign of the king, of King Belshazzar. A vision appeared unto me, even unto me Daniel, right after that which appeared unto me at the first. And I saw in the vision, and it came to pass when I saw it, that I was in Shushan in the palace, which is in the province of Elam. And I saw in a vision, and I was by the river Ulai. Right, it says, then I lifted up mine eyes and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram which had two horns, right, and the two horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last, right. So once again, it's representing the Medo-Persian Empire, right. One was higher than the other. The Persians became because the Persians became greater than the Medes, right, and that's similar to what you read in Daniel's the 7th chapter. Right, it basically going into this, the fact that the Persians would become stronger than the Medes, right? It says, I saw the ram pushing westward and northward and southward, so that no beasts might stand before him, neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand. But he did according to his will and became great. Right, it says east is not mentioned because the Medo-Persian Empire was situated in the east, right? So if you imagine how this kingdom would have come about, would have basically spread westward, right? Northwards and southwards, right? Because once again, it originated in the east, right? It says in modern day Iran, right? It says neither was there any that could deliver out of his hand, right? The empire was too strong at the time, right? Because once again, you read Daniel's 4:17, right? In fact, let me grab that real quick. Right, it says this matter is by the decree of the watchers, right, and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and setteth up over it the basis of men. Right, so it says that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men. Right, so the Lord is the one who sets up kings and whatever, what have you. The Lord is the one that's basically put Esau in charge at this, at this time, which is what says the basis of men, right? Which is why when you read the book of Isaiah, I believe it was at 13, right? But when Esau was put down, right, the nations are going to say, and all people are going to be like, look, is this the man that made the earth tremble, right? And us, the hopeful elect, right, we look at this man for what he really is. We know he's just a weak sperm, right? He's just a weak sperm. But we understand that the Most High is the one that put him in charge, right? You understand that the Most High is the one that put him in power. Let me get that in Psalms, right? Psalm 75 and 7. It says, but God is the judge. He putteth down one and setteth up another, right? Once again, just going into that point. So, carrying on in verse Daniel 8 and 5, it says, and as I was considering, behold, an he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth, and touched not the ground. And the goat had a notable horn between his eyes, right? And he-goat and notable horn, right? This is representative of Alexander the Greek, right? It says, and he came to the ram that had two horns, which I had seen standing before the river, and ran unto him in the fury of his power, And I saw him come close unto the ram, and he was moved with choler against him, right? Choler, let's see what the primitive root, probably to trickle, says, but uses the nominative of that. Says to be causatively make bitter, be moved with choler, to be better, right? To make better, to be strong, right? So he basically he moved against the Medo-Persian Empire, right? It says, and smote the ram and brake his two horns, and there was no power in the ram to stand before him, but he cast him down to the ground and stamped upon him, and there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. Therefore the he-goat waxed very strong, very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken, for it came up for it came up four notable ones towards the four winds of heaven, right? So once again, it's an example of the Most High setting up one, and taking that one down and then setting up another, right? So you have the Medo-Persian Empire, and the Lord set up the Greeks, starting off Alexander the Creep, right? To basically take down the Medo-Persian Empire, right? And once again, it said at bottom of the 7th verse, right, that and there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand, because that was given, right? It was set upon that time that this should happen, right? So it says, so breakdown of verse 8 says, the four notable ones are the four generals, right, of Alexander the Great, right, are known as the Diadochi, right? So it's Cassander, Ptolemy, Lacemes, and Seleucus, right? It says that Alexander the Greek, the Creep, divided the kingdom to upon his death, right? This is verse 9. And out of one of them came forth a little horn, right, which waxed exceeding great toward the south and toward the east and toward the pleasant land, right? It says Antiochus the fourth, right? Antiochus the Epiphanes, right, towards the pleasant land. That's referring to Israel, right? So yeah, and once again, this is different to the little horn referenced in Daniel the 7th chapter, right? It says verse 10 says, and it waxed great even to the host of heaven, and it came and it cast down some of the host and of the stars to the ground and stamped upon them, right? Host of heaven and stars referring to Israel, right? You read that in Genesis 37 9, you know the story of the dream that Joseph had, right? In fact, Miles, since we're here, Genesis 37 and 9 says, and he dreamed yet another dream and told his brethren and said, behold, I have dreamed a dream more. And behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obeisance to me, right? So what do you call it? The 11 stars represent, his 11 brothers, and obviously he'd be the 12th, right? So carrying on back in Daniel's 8 and 11, right? It says, yea, he magnified himself even to the prince of the host, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away, right? And the place of his sanctuary was cast down, and then the host was given him against the daily sacrifice by reason of transgression, and it cast down the truth to the ground, and it practiced and prospered, right? So you can read that in the book of the Maccabees, right? This devil and his and his actions. It says at verse 13, then I heard one saint speaking, and another saint said unto that certain saint which spake, how long shall be the vision concerning the daily sacrifice and the transgression of desolation, to give both the sanctuary and the host to be trodden underfoot, right? So in this instance, saint is referring to the angels, right? Because you read, was it Psalms 50 and 5? Let's grab that. It says, gather my saints together unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice. And who made a covenant with the Most High? The children of Israel, right? So carrying on in verse 14, right, it says, Daniel 8:14, and he said unto me, unto 2,300 days, then shall the sanctuary be cleansed, right? So 2,300 days, this is a little over 6 years. Antiochus was in power for around 9 years. He would not have defiled the temple straight away, so scriptures match up with this historical time period, right? So basically, that wouldn't have been, his first action, right? So it's this time period is around about correct, right? It says verse 15, and it came to pass when even I Daniel had seen the vision and sought for the meaning, then behold, there stood before me as the appearance of a man, right? And I heard a man's voice between the banks of Ulai, which called and said, Gabriel, make this man to understand the vision. So he came near where I stood. And when he came, I was afraid and fell upon my face. But he said unto me, Understand, O son of man, for at the time of the end shall be the vision. Now as he was speaking with me, I was in a deep sleep on my face toward the ground, but he touched me and set me upright. And he said, Behold, I'll make thee known what shall be in the last end of the indignation, for at the time appointed the end shall be. The ram which thou sawest having two horns are the kings of Media and Persia, right? Basically, and this is the beauty of this one because it basically breaks itself down, right? Says, and the rough goat is the king of Grecia, and the great horn is between his eye is the first king, right? And now that being broken, whereas four stood up for it, four kingdoms shall stand up out of the nation, but not in his power. And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up. Right, so once again, Antiochus the fourth, right? Antiochus Epiphanes the fourth, right? It says, and his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power, right? And he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper and practice, and shall destroy the mighty and holy people, right? This is not by his own power. Antiochus used mercenaries, right? It gives an account there in First Maccabees, the 6th chapter, right? Verse 25, and through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, right? And he shall magnify himself in his heart, right? If that ain't the spirit of any Edomite, man, right? He says, and by peace shall destroy many, right? He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand, right? And the vision of the evening and the morning which was told is true. Wherefore shut thou up the vision, for it shall be for many days. And I, Daniel, fainted and was sick certain days. Afterward I arose and did the king's business, and I was astonished at the vision, but none understood it, right? So, once again, it's just a breakdown of Daniel's, the 8th chapter, notes taken from when the apostle did breakdown of Daniel's, the 8th chapter. As always, Lord's word, I was edifying. Till the next time. Shalom.